Hi, I'm Josh Lockheed, Training Evangelist here at QuoteWerks. In this video, we're going to walk you through how to set up the Act for Web integration with QuoteWerks Web. The Act for Web integration with QuoteWerks Web has many integration points, including contact support, opportunity support, scheduling follow-up calls, creating meetings and to-dos, and more. So let's get started. To set up your Act for Web integration, open QuoteWerks Web and click on the Contacts drop-down menu, then Set up Contact Manager. At the very top, you'll see a drop-down menu that asks you to select your primary CRM integration. For today's purposes, we'll select Act for Web. Below this, you'll see a list of all the CRMs QuoteWerks Web currently integrates with. At the top of the list, you'll see Act for Web. Go ahead and select Act for Web. This will bring you to a page that gives you the ability to set the connection type, server and database information, user credentials, and access the integration settings and data link options. For connection type, you'll want to choose whether you're using a cloud-based or on-premise implementation of Act for Web. Under the server section, you'll input your service URL and database, and if you're using Act for Web on-premise, you'll also have to supply your virtual directory. Once you've done so, you should click on the Test button to test your connection. Under the Act for Web user credentials section, you can input or change your user credentials. As you see, there is another option to test credentials, and this is recommended before proceeding. You will need to have any other users that will be using the Act for Web integration go into their own instance of QuoteWerks Web, click on Setup, then My Preferences. On the Contact Manager tab, they will need to input and test their own credentials. It is important that all of this information is input accurately, as this is what creates the connection between Act for Web and QuoteWerks Web. At the bottom of the Act for Web page, you'll see the links for integration settings and data link. We'll begin by clicking on Integration Settings. This will open the Act for Web settings page. Here we have 4 sections: General, Opportunities, Activities, and Attachments. Under General, we can choose which address to use when a contact does not have an address associated with them. You can choose to use the account's main address, shipping address, or billing address. This helps to ensure that a contact always has an address associated with them in QuoteWerks, even if the contact does not have one assigned to them in Act for Web. The next section is the Opportunities section. This is where you'll set up how you want QuoteWerks to handle order conversion and how to write items into the Act for Web opportunity. The first option is choosing when you want to set the opportunity to 1 in Act for Web. You can select to do so when converting a quote to an order, to an invoice, or never. Most will choose to convert the opportunity to 1 when the quote is converted to an order, but this gives you the flexibility to do things differently if you choose to do so. This section also has 2 checkboxes. One is used to prompt you to create an opportunity if an opportunity does not exist at time of conversion. The other, Do not remove existing companies and contacts from opportunities, will make it so that if you update an existing opportunity with a new company or contact, the original company and contact association will remain. With this not selected, if a user updates the company or contact information in QuoteWerks, it will overwrite the existing company and contact associated with the opportunity in Act for Web. Under Opportunity Details, you can choose whether to write a single summary line into the opportunity or write in line item detail. Most will choose to include line item detail, as this pulls in the product information including description, quantity, price, and much more for each line item. However, this is another area where we give you the flexibility to choose based on your business needs. Under Product ID mapping, we can choose which QuoteWerks field to map to the Act for Web item number. Most often this will be manufacturer part number, as this is the unique identifier in QuoteWerks, but again we provide some flexibility for you to choose something else if it makes sense for you. With whatever field you choose to map, there needs to be a process for handling situations where the source field is blank. If you click on Part Number Generation options, you can choose to not auto-generate a product ID, generate using a macro, or generate using a macro based on a QuoteWerks item type. If for whatever reason both the mapping and the part number generation does not assign a part number, you can select what default part number you would like to use for each item type, and this is completely customizable. And lastly, in the Opportunities section is the ability to include item costs in the opportunity line items. If selected, the line item cost will be written along with the other product information. The next section, Activities, is where you can set the default settings for calls, meetings, and to-dos. For each type, you can set the default priority, ring alarm, duration, and details. Again, these are just the defaults, and these fields can be updated at the time of activity creation. At the bottom of the Activities section, you can choose to attach the activity to either the opportunity or the contact. Once again, this is a setting that you will need to choose based on your existing workflows. The last section on the Act for Web settings page is the Attachments section. Just like Activities, here you can choose to associate linked documents to the opportunity or the contact. The other setup option we have is the data link. The data link allows you to push or pull additional fields between QuoteWerks and Act4Web. So if you want to pull additional field information from Act4Web into your QuoteWerks document, or push additional field or line item information from QuoteWerks into Act4Web, you can do that all through data link. For example, if we click on the data link option, this will bring us to the data link page. We'll click on the gold button to create a new mapping, and all we're going to do is essentially copy data from Act4Web into QuoteWerks or from QuoteWerks into Act4Web. This allows more information to flow between the two programs. So for example, if I wanted to pull additional information from Act4Web into QuoteWerks, I first want to choose the event, action, or context. In this case, I will make it so that an action will be taken when I retrieve my contact into the sold tool field. I then need to choose my external system, which in this example is Act4Web. We're going to select Read into QuoteWerks, and then I'm going to choose the Act4Web field that I want to pull into QuoteWerks. In this case, let's say when I retrieve my sold to contact, I want to read in the company industry into the price profile field in QuoteWerks. I can do this by setting my external system field as source to company industry and my QuoteWerks field as destination to sold to price profile. When I hit OK, it will save the data link and it will now be listed in the data link setup page. As you have seen, setting up the Act4Web integration is relatively easy and should only take a couple of minutes, but its extensibility is quite powerful. For instructions or assistance with setting up the integration, please see the QuoteWerks help files or contact the support team at 407-248-1481.